Hi everyone, my name's Mike and welcome to the video. We're back after a bit of an absence because the weather's nice again. We've tended not to ride in the winter months. We don't want to put people's bikes out on filthy roads, so it's only fair, isn't it really? Plus we don't like going out on filthy roads ourselves. So the bike today is a beautiful original first year of manufacture Harley Fat Boy. So it's in that first year colour scheme, which we'll talk about later. Really nice bike. We had a great day on it. The bike's owned by Russ Campbell from Bretton Motorcycles, which is a Harley shop on the border between England and Wales, not far out of Chester. Russ is a great guy. He's a great team of guys out at Bretton. They don't just do Harleys, they have other bikes as well, but well worth a visit. Great old school bike shop. So yeah, we've got a new member of the team. My brother John has joined us for this filming, and we're going to be seeing more of John now that he's retired and he's got a bit more time on his hands, so he's very keen to be involved. And we've got lots more coming up this year. As I said, now that the weather's picked up a bit, we've got a whole list of bikes that we can test. And in fact, Stuart's come up with an idea where he's, well, he'll talk about it later on, but it involves 3 of Russ's bikes, and you have to make a choice. So I won't talk about that. I won't steal his thunder, though I think I already did. But yeah, so stick with us, and we've got plenty more to come. So if you've enjoyed what we're doing, please give us a like and subscribe, if you think we deserve it, that is. And it'll just allow us to keep going doing these things. It just kind of boosts us up the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm. So we'd really appreciate that. And with that, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Stuart, and I'm sitting on the beautiful Harley Davidson that's featured in this video that was loaned to us by Russell, who is the proprietor of Bretton Motors. So Russ, tell us a little bit about this bike.
This bike is synonymous with it is an original 1990 Fat Boy, introduced by Harley. They had soft tails before then from 84, and this one was introduced in 1990.
So when you say soft tail, that's why it looks like it's a hard...
Correct. They look like a hard tail. Was a bit off-putting for some of them, some of the people at the time. But yeah, they handle with their 2 shocks underneath, set hidden underneath the frame.
Yeah, because it does handle really well.
Yeah.
You know, when you're motoring along. So it's surprising because it gives you the feel of an older bike, but it gives you the look of an older bike, but the feel of a...
Well, it's not going to win any TTs, but it certainly does the job.
So what is it? What's the engine?
1340 bottom breather engine. The later ones were head breathers, but it makes no difference. They're still a very, very good engine. I've got a custom one with one in now. They introduced these in 1990. So they introduced the soft tail in 84, but then 1990 they introduced what's called the Fat Boy, with the tins and the wider front end, 16-inch solid wheels and everything. There's a bit of conjecture and a bit of...
Yeah, this is what I wanted to ask you about, because I really... The looks, it's a really nice machine, really good condition, and it just... I like it, and I didn't know why I liked it, but Ross is going to tell us what the...
Well, when I bought my first Fat Boy, 1990, was in 1992. And the only story for the Fat Boy then was it was named after the 2 bombs dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Fat man and little boy, hence the Fat Boy. Now since then there's been a bit of denial by Harley Davidson, saying it was introduced because of the fat front end, which to a certain degree I can understand, but there's been fatter Harley Davidsons than this brought out, and why weren't they called the Fat Boy? So without no disrespect to the Japanese, I would think that the story, especially with the yellow beading on the cylinders, points cover, etc., and the uniform military style badge,
we're going with the original story.
I think without doubt I would go with the original one, which obviously Harley Davidson wouldn't want to upset the Japanese now, but at the time I think it was a statement and it stuck. So but after 1 year of this model they cancelled this colour. So
okay. So you can only... Is this for sale in your shop?
It is, 14,995. It's been fully renovated.
And you'll see from the video how well this motor goes. It does go.
Well, that made me fell in love with, in 92, fell in love with Harley Davidson Softails, especially the Fat Boy. Unfortunately, I had to sell mine. Julian Richer from Richer Sound bought it, actually.
Okay.
Whether he still got it.
So are there many of these in the country?
No. I think there's only 2 or 3 for sale in the country.
Wow.
Ranging from about 9 grand upwards, but with different cylinder heads, different modifications. This, for all intents and purposes, bar a couple of tiny things, is a completely original bike.
Pretty original,
renovated. Yeah. And I'll give Will Burrows a mention as well, because he did a lot of the work on it.
Okay, well thanks for that, Ross.
You're welcome.
Alright, so this is me, Mike, riding the bike now, and in a minute you're going to hear me miss a gear. There you go. Change down instead of changing up. I don't know what it is, but with heel and toe gear changes it really messes with my brain. Now, I've ridden lots of bikes with it, gear change on the left and on the right, and one up, the rest down, one down, the rest up, fine with it. But as soon as you put a heel and toe on the end of my foot, my brain just can't compute. I don't know why, because it's just a normal pattern really. But anyway, what's the bike like? Well, listen to it. Look at it. Look at that headlight. Look at those bars. You know, it's the experience. It's the whole Harley deal. This. You know, you've got that incredible soundtrack, that beautiful long stroke motor loping along underneath you. It feels powerful, and you feel powerful riding it. For anybody who's not ridden a Harley and doesn't like Harleys, get yourself a go on a bike like this. Get yourself a go on a Fat Boy. It'll change your mind. It's an event. They're wonderful things, and it's very much about that engine. You know, it's a smooth engine. All the controls are light and it's easy to ride. It's comfortable to ride. But really, you just crack the throttle and off it goes. I don't know what we'll do top end, but it seems to have a lot of top end power, you know, but or be capable of that, but I don't think I'll take it over 65 miles an hour, and it seems comfortable at that. And you hear in a minute I'm going to accelerate coming out of the 30 zone here, and I think I'm either in top gear or in fourth gear here. Just now accelerate and watch my wrist. I move it about 1/4 of an inch and listen. It's just got so much torque. But one area where it's not at its best, and it's a bit unfair, we took it on these roads, it's not at its best on a bumpy road. You can see it's jouncing and bouncing around a bit, but that's not what the bike's made for, really. You know, this is a bike for cruising around. Obviously, hear that bounce there, but it's comfortable, and you just ride it as you'd ride a Harley. You know, it's not a racing bike, it's not a sports bike, it's not a scratcher, but it will accelerate. Listen to this. It sounds like a motorbike should sound. You know, it's what a kid would imagine a motorbike sounds like. And we rode this through Chester later on, and I was riding it, and I just couldn't stop revving it between the buildings just to get that sound. It's like turned me into a bit of a child. I loved it. And you know, as I said before, anyone who doesn't like Harleys or doesn't understand, have a go. My brother, it's never like, I invited him along to do this, and he was like, yeah, I'll come along, but I don't like Harleys. He got off it with a grin a mile wide, because he got it, you know, he absolutely loved it. But yeah, it's just a lovely bike to ride. In fact, I would love to have one of these. You know, I'd probably ride it a lot more than I think I would, because they are practical. You know, it's got bags on it, and pillion is superb on it. You know, I could put my wife on the back and just go out cruising around. In many ways, it's a bit like, I know it sounds ridiculous, but we tested the Royal Enfields, and it's the sort of bike you can have absolute ball on in the speed limit. You know, you don't have to be doing, you know, hair on fire, 120 miles an hour. You can stay within the speed limit and just enjoy motorbike riding. You know, just for the joy of being on a bike. It's just lovely, just wonderful. And thank you very much, Ross, for first of all trusting us with the bike, because I know it's a valuable bike of yours, and we really enjoyed the experience. Thanks, mate.
Okay, hi everyone, Happy New Year, and I hope you had a good Christmas break, and we're back after quite a long absence. So I'd like to introduce my brother John, who is a long-term member of the Lemon Drizzle gang, but for some reason or other he's never actually appeared in one before.
It's because John's got a face for radio, hasn't he?
Yeah,
It's because I'm very shy and I don't like to
oh, that's it.
appear in
Sorry,
public.
John.
he's as shy as a charging rhinoceros,
Absolutely.
my brother. Cool. So today we have been out on another Harley Davidson, and this has come from Bretton Motorcycles, so I'd like to thank Russ Campbell very much for loaning it to us. And the model of the bike, I always get it wrong, so I'm going to ask Dave.
Fat Boy.
I know it's a Fat Boy.
Oh, I see. Well, it's an Evo, 1989 or 19...
No, the model.
I don't
The
know.
grey.
Oh, the Grey Ghost.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Grey Ghost.
Oh, right.
Grey
Sorry,
Ghost.
yeah, Grey Ghost. It wasn't called that as an official title, I don't think.
I think it was.
Well, we'll find out later.
Because I'm going to ask Ross. We'll do a thing with Ross afterwards. So apparently it's a limited edition one, and it only came out in year 2000, something like that.
No, earlier than that.
I know nothing.
It's
so-
G-registered,
Yeah.
which would mean it's
89 or
Russ will
99.
tell you everything.
Yes,
you
I
need
know
to
nothing.
about it.
Ignore us.
All I do is press the button on the camera. So, what did you think of it, Stu?
I have ridden a Harley. I think I had a Heritage over in Vegas, over in the USA. So I knew a little bit what to expect, but I was really impressed with the engine. I got on it, and it feels like it's going to be rough, but it is quite an accomplished engine.
It's a fantastic engine, isn't it?
It's got a little bit of poke to it as well. The feel I got from it, and I said to these straight away, the first sort of junction I came to, I felt like I was going to put my hand out, to hand signal, because it gives you the feel of an old...
Yeah.
What was the word?
There's a word.
Do you know, I had
Atavistic.
exactly the same feeling and desire to
Exactly,
use my
because
hand
it
as,
takes-
as
it takes you
indicators.
The way
to
it's
an
all
earlier
set
age.
up, you feel like you're
Yeah,
on
yeah.
a vintage motorcycle.
Yeah, but
Which in
good.
part you are.
yeah.
Because it is technology done very well, but from an earlier age.
But the standout is the engine. The engine is just it's just a riot.
Even
Isn't
more
it?
Yeah,
And like that bike, as we were talking, John, it's pure Americana. It's
Yeah.
50s Cadillac.
Well,
isn't
it's
it, you know.
Yeah.
when you sit in
57.
it, and you do sit in it.
Yep.
You sat there with these lovely pullback bars, very much feet forward, pegs,
The highway
footboards.
plate boards, they call
Highway boards,
highway
yeah.
boards,
Yeah. And it just feels right at about 55, doesn't it? It just
Yeah.
feels right because your sail, aerodynamically, it's a nightmare. But if you're doing 55,
Sorry,
60,
I'm just going to move this.
it doesn't even matter, does it? You know, and it just
And that-
feels right. You've got the twin filler caps from the Fat Bob tank,
Yeah.
the original tooling made with the original tooling, that Fat Bob tank, and your console and everything, and it just feels right.
Yeah.
The front end, the headlights and the shrouds on the forks are like, if you look up a 1950 something Hydroglide, that's what the forks look like.
You hated that, didn't you?
Absolutely,
The
yeah.
styling.
The whole Harley Davidson styling was sort of abhorrent to me.
Yeah, but you enjoyed riding it.
But today has been an absolutely incredible experience. When I first saw it, when I met you guys in whatever town it was,
Churton? Was
I
that
think.
Churton?
Yeah. I thought, crikey, I'm never going to be able to ride that.
I saw the look on your
with
face.
the sort of
the footboards,
and so on.
But you get used to it.
But
don't you?
then, I got on it, and I was really pleasantly surprised
Yeah.
how easy it was to ride. And I actually took your advice, Stuart, and I sort of gripped the tank with my knees so that I could keep my feet in the right position for the pedals, because
maybe it wouldn't have hurt
intuitively
so
my
much.
feet wanted to go back
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
I'm used to. I'm
Mid-mounts,
used to that-
yeah. Those
exactly, yeah.
Pegs there are called mid mounts, and there's a forward mount.
Yeah, so I was actually very impressed with how smooth it was compared to what I was expecting, and
Yeah.
you know, I really enjoyed sort of the sort of windy roads and the acceleration, the deceleration,
Yeah,
changing up and down through the box.
Well, it's
it
all
was
rubber
really
mounted.
good.
The engine's all rubber
Yeah.
mounted. Harley employed the guy who did Norton's Isolastics.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did the. I mean, they obviously used a lot of other engineers.
However, I will say, once you get that motor spinning in top gear, and you get a bit of a lick on, what you were saying is you're ideally set as if you're a spinnaker, so you do
Yeah.
catch a lot of
Yeah.
wind. And the other thing is the vibration just goes up like 60-70%.
The only thing that I regret is that we couldn't find a bit of sort of really open road so
Yeah.
we could
Yeah, it's been a bit
let it go.
backlaney, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Well, luckily, where we travelled from to get to where the destination where we did the first beauty shots, there was some long
Yeah,
road
bit
with
longer,
long
bit more
sweeping
sweeping,
corners,
yeah.
which suited it a lot.
It gets into a rhythm, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
it's just lovely. You know, it's the fire every other lamppost feel. The gearbox is surprisingly nice. I don't think any of us got it into neutral at a
That's one
standstill.
thing I
No,
remember
it was
about being
quite
in
difficult.
But-
USA. I couldn't get it into neutral. Same with this one.
But on the move, it's lovely. It's
Yeah.
a really
Yeah.
nice gearbox. It's mechanical.
Yeah.
It feels like you're shifting these big cogs, but it works really sweetly. You know?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I'm sort of used to a bike with lots of torque because I ride a Moto Guzzi.
Yeah.
But this was out of this world.
I
It
know.
was
That's what-
incredible,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you know it's.
And it's that
I
roll
reckon,
on,
I
roll
really
off
do
feel,
reckon
isn't it?
torque
You
is the future, isn't it?
It
It's,
is the future,
Well, it's the
John.
thing that makes a
Definitely
bike
the future.
pleasant to
Yeah.
ride as opposed to
Yeah.
fast. You know?
Absolutely, yeah. Rather than RPM. I mean,
Yeah.
what's that?
So no garlic bread. This is the future,
Torque is the
Torque
future.
is the
future.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
A lot of torque.
yeah.
and that could be the.
And it's
name.
interesting how it compares to the earlier Harley, the shovel head we rode,
Yeah.
which was a challenge in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. You know,
It wasn't running
It
right.
wasn't running right, in fairness, but when it was running, you know, the brakes were marginal, the gearbox was a lot clunkier. Same design, same architecture. Everything's the same architecture. It's push rods, camshafts are the same. Doesn't get changed till the twin cam, but everything works better, and
Yeah.
everything. It doesn't throw out the baby with the bathwater. It
Yeah.
feels the same, but it all works better. And it's from a maintenance point of view, Evolution engines were much less of a challenge.
What I noticed today is I didn't hear a single scrape,
No,
and I think that possibly is because the road's pretty grim because we are
yeah, a bit
31st of
Yeah,
January.
We're still in January.
yeah we
Yeah.
suffer for our art. So yeah, so we weren't pushing it on the corners, but
No,
it wasn't brilliant when we took the shovel out.
Oh no, it was pretty.
But the
dodgy.
first corner, I've got it on film.
Yeah.
You go.
Yeah, no, we didn't scrape the
So
footboard.
nobody
Yeah,
scraped it today.
I didn't scrape
I
it.
wasn't
No,
expecting
I
that.
didn't.
I did say to you, didn't I, after we'd stopped, how close was I when I was cranking it over, because I was waiting for it to go. But it didn't. So yeah, it was a good experience.
Yeah.
And then we're actually in the centre of Chester here. This is the River Dee. As we were riding up, I was just like getting it, because we were going past the shop windows.
So you were eyeballing yourself. Mike rode halfway through Chester, and all he was doing was like a
I
kid
just
at
revving
14.
it.
He was
Yeah.
revving it like a 14-year-old.
Eyeballing
me.
yourselves in the
Look at
shop
me.
windows, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
on a Harley, but
So,
yeah, I sort of
there we
went
go.
past and thought, here's the opportunity, looked down and thought,
Yeah.
And of course, this is the Terminator bike, isn't it?
It
So
is,
it's the,
yeah.
Yeah.
give me your boots, your jacket, your motorcycle.
Yeah. So here's a
And
question
your
for
thermals, 'cause it is
John,
January.
self-avowed Harley cynic. Me, owned a few Harleys,
Yeah.
Sportsters, different kettle of fish, but not averse to a big Harley. You've never ridden a big Harley apart from the shovel head, have
No,
you?
that's right. Yeah.
And Stu had to go on one in Rowan and State. If you had 5 or 6 bikes in your garage, would you have room for a Harley?
I absolutely would, but the only thing is, because I've got a stuffed back,
Yeah.
I would have to have one that had a slightly different seating position. But in terms of the overall dynamic of riding that bike, absolutely, I thought it was brilliant
Stu?
fun.
I like the look of the older engines, you know.
Yeah.
I like the shovel heads and
Yeah.
pan head things. It's a little bit better than an engine, but after riding that, that's probably the compromise. You still got the big heart. You still got it's still Harley.
It's got the heartbeat.
Everyone, you know, we had a guy pulled up in a van, and he wasn't particularly interested.
He just
in
wanted to look
Harley.
at the guzzies,
But,
didn't
you know, you could. He
The
knew
gutsies.
it was a Harley, and he knew what is associated with it. So probably you get everything that's associated with Harley and a cracking engine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
What about you, John? You're probably the most cynical about Harley.
If I wanted to add to my bike collection,
Yeah.
I think I might. One of the reasons is to give you a bit more street cred. I mean,
You don't need any more, John.
when I'm normally riding, and we go past a load of Harleys, they don't even acknowledge
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But wait till you
But
see
to the-
yourself on film, John.
Oh.
You look cooler than McQueen.
Going over
But
that.
I probably would.
You can see the
Yeah.
charm anyway.
I can see the charm, and bit of a novelty.
And the other thing,
But,
I think we've alluded to this a lot of times when we've gone on the even the newer Enfield, is that the condition and the sort of speeds on the road, that is ideal. It's
It is.
it's in its element, just around,
Legal.
and everything's so
Yeah.
relaxed.
Yeah.
We were lucky; we got a little bit of a private road that we could go on, so we took it over 70.
Yeah.
But
You did.
most of the time,
You hooligan.
if you do stick to the speed limit, it's just so
It's nice
relaxing.
round
Yeah,
town.
very-
You're in
It's
very
there.
nice on
relaxing,
B roads
yeah.
areas. It'd probably be not
So-
particularly pleasant on a motorway, but then
No.
bikes that are good on motorways
There are-
are just about
Yeah, I
insulating
actually
you from
beg
it.
to do. I think it would. If you had to do a long motorway journey,
As long as you weren't
As long
trying
as you
to
had a screen on it.
I would be fine on a Harley.
or
yeah,
you weren't
yeah.
trying to hold 80 probably.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
it's,
grim there.
but you took me for a quick ride on the back of it when we went and
Yeah.
photographed by the telephone box.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing. I was sitting on the back of it, and I hadn't even found the footrest, but it was like so comfy on the back. It's a fantastic bike to take your partner on a Sunday
Yeah.
afternoon
Yeah.
with mates that have also got Harleys, and you just
Yeah.
have a gentle bimble round, and you can see why they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see why Harley riders do what they do, because it's really enjoyable. Cool. All right. Well, that's
it's a
fantastic.
thumbs
So
up.
that's a thumbs up from everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
yeah.
What about the?
One more thing. Do you want to talk about the choice thing we're going to do?
Right, so Russ's Bike Shop has got a variety of bikes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose 3. We'll take some photographs of it, and you can decide
You,
what
the
the
listener.
next.
You.
You can decide which is going to be the next bike that we feature. So,
Are we going to let on what they are?
well, are you going to do a separate little?
Yeah, I can do. Yeah, I'll do it.
So Mike's going to do a separate little one. So watch out for it. It'll be a little short Lemon Drizzle Gang
I'm going to get stitched up with an MZ or something.
Video.
No,
and then
before-
there were
they're all-
three bikes.
three
you
bikes.
Can, you can vote on whichever one you want us to do next.
Each one is very interesting. They're all classics, and they're very different.
Very, very different.
I'm intrigued.
Before
I
we,
have to
um,
apologise. It's quite windy
Yeah.
here. We're doing our best to avoid the wind, so if there's a bit
and
of wind.
we are in Chester on the River Dee, and there's a question I'd just like to ask these Chester boys.
Yes, East Shrewsbury.
I know he is, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but
The D
have
goes
you
from
ever
there.
jumped off the suspension bridge in your youth?
No,
into
have
the
you?
river? Yes, yeah. After
In winter or summer?
after a session in this pub,
Because this pub, this is the boathouse, and it used
Yeah.
to be in the 70s and 80s. It was the biking place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there used to be a custom car club on the Thursday, but it was a bikers meet. So
Yeah.
we'd meet here many years ago, and then go off for a run, and then come back. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
in the day.
Yeah, and the suspension bridge in the 1940s, when our dad was courting our mum, to show off, he actually walked across the handrail over the over the suspension bridge.
You sure? I thought you said you did a handstand. Or was that a different story?
That's a
completely?
different story.
Right.
no,
We'll
he
leave
walked on the handrail
handrail.
Leave it there.
and then did a handstand.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you jumped off.
Yeah,
All right, thank you very much for watching as
thank you.
usual.
Don't forget, keep an eye out because you can
Yeah.
vote on the next one.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys.
right. Cheers.
Good.